What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to talk about my radio setup, the Taranis X9D Plus. So nothing too crazy about my Taranis. I have a couple or a good amount of little modifications, nothing major. The first thing people probably notice is the textured paint that I rock. I just like the way it feels. Not my hands don't get super sweaty, but if it's moist out, I live in southeast Kansas, it's super humid. It's just a little more grippy, and fun fact, it's just Rust-Oleum outdoor furniture paint textured. I think they have like 3 or 5 colors. This is like the beige vanilla color. And a thing to note is when you're painting it, it's really thick paint, and on the holes in your Taranis, because you're going to have to take everything out, it's not a huge deal on like the gimbal screws and whatnot, but it's a huge bummer on the button holes. These plug up really quick, so after you paint it, you want to make sure you file all that back out. I have broken a button doing that before. And I painted 2 of these shells, and it's only my second radio ever in 5 years. The first one didn't break. I was just simming super hard and walked away with it, plugged into the USB thing, and ripped the USB connector out. The second thing people notice is the switch delete. I've deleted 6 switches off this. Main reason is I don't use them for anything. They kind of just looked to me like they were going to break off. I'd broken one off before, and I only need an arm switch. I use this for extra stuff, like if I need to black box something or return to home or something like that, it'll go on this switch. Otherwise, it remains empty. I do like being able to turn this backlighting of the screen off just to save some battery, but not a huge thing. Then I keep my arm switch on the second one in here, middle position, and that's just because the way I hold my quad, I can flip it really quickly up or down to disarm it, and it's just a tiny little movement up. This guy controls, I don't know if you can hear that, the volume of the Taranis. Just like being able to turn it down if I'm in a place where I need to hear things, listen to people talking, I can turn down all my timers and warnings and whatnot, and then if I'm flying for fun, I can just turn them back up, and it's just on this little knob. And then this little guy controls some special stuff, but the thing I will say is it's got this little 3D printed part on it, and it's got 2 little flaps sticking off, so when my finger's hanging off the end of here, and I have those 2 little ridges in there so that I can feel what position the potentiometer is set at without actually having to look for it. And it might be a little difficult to tell, but these 2 little knobs are actually 2 different shapes. So you can feel the difference with your fingertips. After that, some gimbal stick ends, nothing crazy. I think these are a pretty generic FR Sky kind of setup. I got these from Ryder, and I thumb, I don't pinch, so I like the extra surface area, and these have a lot of little sharp ridges that help my thumb from slipping. On the stock gimbals, the ones that look like a chess piece kind of. So that's buttons and hardware. I don't have any crazy hardware in here. I'm actually missing a screw in the back. And then speaking of the back, we have the full-size Crossfire module with Bluetooth. Never use the Bluetooth. Don't even know why. And then I just have it wrapped in a Rebel Mini Quad sticker. It's not vinyl or anything. It's just one of their massive stickers. And then I heat gunned it on there so that it curved around the edge of the Crossfire and then cut out what I needed to. It's a vinyl lunar print on the battery door that's been on there for like 3 years. And then in the back, I have a Lumineer 3500 3S. This thing is a beast, and I highly recommend it. It'll last about 3 days at like switching between 1 to 500 milliwatts, 3 days of flying. And it actually adds a good amount of weight to the radio, so it feels nice in your hands. I don't use a strap or anything, so I like to feel the weight. I don't have anything suspending it, and it just helps keep it more stable. And same with the little radio stand. It just adds a bit more weight, and it's nice for setting it down on stuff. And then I just have these little 3D printed booties on here so that if I set it down on top of a car, the metal on metal is not going to scratch it. I'm not too worried about the plastic. Let's see what else. Then there's just some little suede pieces all around the back of it. There's some here, and then on the sides too. And I just have that so that I got some nice feels in my hands, really. Keeps it from slipping a little bit, but it's just kind of on all the major contact points. I didn't want to wrap most of it in suede since my whole hand's kind of on it. TBS diamond antenna on the Crossfire. Like I said, no strap, but I keep this guy on there. As for gimbals, I use the M9 Hall gimbals, and I go through them about once a year. I know Hall gimbals are supposed to technically wear out, but mine always stop working, and it's usually the roll or the yaw axis that goes out. And it'll start to like twitch every now and again, and then it'll just get stuck somewhere. And you can even see it on the little Taranis screen. It'll just show the gimbal getting stuck in a position even though it's moving around. So I've tried cleaning them, like 3M duster canning them, taking them apart, and it'll fix it for a bit, and then it'll happen again. So I just get new ones. They're not too expensive. So M9 gimbals, and then I run these sticks pretty stiff. I run them pretty short on the length, but then as for feel, they're pretty stiff. I don't know if you're able to see that, but it won't budge. And then pretty good amount of tension. I like having to move the sticks as much as possible when I fly. So I like them pretty darn stiff, and I like them the same. So the stiffness on both the pitch and the roll and the throttle and the yaw is pretty much identical. And there's a little XT30 lead coming out of the battery door. I thought I was going to use this more, but it's kind of just overkill for the Crossfire, so it kind of just stays tucked away in there, and I keep the little cap on it so no one at TSA says anything. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up my Taranis X9D Plus radio setup. Just a couple stickers, some little touches, and she's all mine. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave your questions in the comments below. Check out the Fly Life podcast. There's a sweet new episode with Ryder coming out, and we're giving away some awesome stuff from Hacko and Emax. So make sure to check that out, and thanks for tuning in. Peace.